How's it going, people? Right, so we're going to do a VR today to Generation Pixel, and basically put a video out titled Top 10 Games I Own as Decided by Metacritic. And basically he left it open, but he also tagged people as well, and we was one of them. So I said to him straight away, I'll get on this. And it's took a few days, because this is not an easy thing to do, because you have to go through all your games on Metacritic, and that takes time. So, and even then, there might even be some that I forgot to actually check. But like I say, I've pretty much tapped in the majority of what I own, because this is a thing, they don't have everything on there either. I mean, I've got plenty of old school stuff, like Mega Drive and Game Boy games and things like that, and they're not on there. Well, at least I couldn't find them. So, not all PS1 showed up. Some did. So, yeah, so it takes a while to go through everything, and so it's took me a few days. And like I say, I might have missed a couple, but I'm pretty sure I've got all the top 10. So, there are some interesting ones in there. You'll notice that one console in particular seems to rate very highly, but we'll get to that. And I should also disclose, I was going to actually show you the cases, like the games, as I've done them. But the problem is I live in a flat. And so in order for me to fit my games in this place, they're everywhere. So as a result, it's difficult to try and do, like, you know, if I'm showing 10 games, they're all over the place. So then I've got to start pulling everything out, and then I've got to remember where they all go. It's just easier just for me to just put a nice little thumbnail up here so that you know what game I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to do. But be assured, I do own these games. So, right, okay. With that out of the way, let's get on with it. Right, we're going to start at the lowest, number 10, and then work my way up. That's the easiest way to do it, I think. Right, so number 10, Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, interestingly enough, in some people's cases when they've done this, their games haven't always worked out to be the ones that they enjoy. But this one I can say I do enjoy. Batman Arkham Asylum is a fantastic game. Really enjoyed playing that when it came out. I would say it's ahead of its time, but it's not really ahead of its time. There are other games around like that, but it was definitely the first sort of Batman game we'd had that was like that. Yeah, really good. Challenging too. I've got to be honest, I don't think I've ever actually finished it. I think I got stuck, if I remember right. But it was one, out of all of the Batman games, this was the one I played the most. So, yeah, fantastic game. And if you've never checked it out, you should definitely do that. And I should also state that that's the Xbox 360 version. Because, for some reason, Xbox 360 games do seem to score higher. So, I found that a good majority of my top 10 are Xbox 360 games. So, anyway, moving on. Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii. Again, another good game. I've had hours of fun playing this with the kids. The funny thing is that you look at it and you think, oh, it's a Super Smash Bros. Game. You know, oh, that'll be easy, won't be very challenging. All your favourite Nintendo characters. Yeah, it's not that at all. It is actually quite a challenging game. But good fun. And I mean, playing it with my boys, they really enjoyed this game. It was money well spent, let's put it that way. And if you haven't checked that out and you do have a Wii, it's definitely one worth getting. One thing I have noticed is, you know, obviously when we got it, it was fairly cheap. And we did get it second hand. The prices are rising on this, guys. So if this is one that interests you, then, you know, definitely go and grab it now, because the prices are going up on it. Right, okay. Number 8. Everyone will probably expect this one to crop up. Gears of War 2 on the Xbox 360. Of course it is, because that's what it came out on. Yeah, another good game. The funny thing is, I actually played, I think, Gears of War 2 before I actually played Gears of War 1. And the reason for that was because I played Gears of War 2 round a friend's house. So, yeah, so it's interesting. I actually started in the middle and then went back. And I'm pretty certain, other than the Xbox One version, which was Gears of War 4, I've got all the others. I'm pretty sure of that. I picked up one of them recently, which was I think it's called Juggernaut. Is it Juggernaut or Judgment? I don't know. It starts with J anyway. I hadn't heard of that before, so I picked that one up recently. But yeah, so that's Gears of War 2. Fantastic game. If you've never heard of the Gears of War games and you do have an Xbox 360, definitely worth picking up. There's a reason why the Gears of War games are well known. There's very good reason for that. So if you haven't checked these out, give them a go. You'll enjoy them, I'm sure of it. Right, okay, number 7. Well, we've already had one of them in the series, so it was obvious the second one would crop up, and that is Batman Arkham City. Now, of course, this one scored higher because this one was a little bit more open world, you might say. You could do a little bit more. Obviously, the first game was kind of restricted to the asylum, whereas this one, you've got more freedom to move about. And obviously, you know, like most games, when you bring out the first one, you want to do the next one bigger and better. For me, personally, I prefer the first one because it's the first one. But this one, you can't deny is a good game also. In fact, pretty much all of them are good in the series. So yeah, and again, that's on the Xbox 360. Right, now this one will be no surprise because this was a big game when the Xbox 360 was released, and that is Halo 3. Right, now this game has not aged well. If you go back to it now, it looks very blurry. The graphics don't look that great. Obviously, it was a very early Xbox 360 title, so it would kind of be pretty far back, if you like, in terms of graphics on the 360. But nevertheless, it was one of the first titles, or maybe the first title, thinking about it. So it was obvious, really, that a Halo game would be on this list, and obviously Halo 3 was the first one out on the 360. So again, it was obvious, really, this would be on the list. Right, number 5, Gears of War, the first one. Obviously, you know, and it's funny, actually, because in this case, Gears of War 1 has scored higher than Gears of War 2. Whereas with the Batman games, it was the other way around, which is interesting. Gears of War obviously is the one that started it all. I would argue that I preferred Gears of War 2, but it's each to their own. And obviously this is Metacritic picking these, so it's not the order I would put them in, but nevertheless. Like I said before, Gears of War games are very good. If you haven't played them, it's definitely worth picking them up. And you can get them for next to nothing now. If you go to Music Magpie, they're cheap as chips. So if you have got a 360, go and get them. Even if it doesn't sound like it's your sort of game, it would entertain you for sure. And they're very cheap, so you're not losing much if you don't like it. Right, moving on. Number 4, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the PS2. Yeah, to be quite honest, you're probably the best Grand Theft Auto game ever released, to be honest. Certainly the best one on the PS2, that's for sure. Very good game. The trouble I find is that a lot of, I've played all of the Grand Theft Autos and they kind of all sort of blend into one. So if you was to ask me anything specifically about this game, I wouldn't be able to tell you because they, like I say, they're all very similar. They all sort of blend in. And I can't remember. It was that long ago I played it. I can't remember the specific storyline for this one. I do know that I enjoyed it, and it was one that I went back to more so than any of the others. So, definitely a good game. I would agree to a certain extent where it is on this list, maybe. I think I probably would have put the Batman games and the Gears of War above it, but nonetheless, it's a pretty good game. There's a reason why I'm saying I might have put it roughly where it was, because I don't necessarily agree with the next one. Right, number 3. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Right, now this is what I'm on about. I would have put San Andreas above Vice City, but obviously Metacritic's done it the other way around. Again, a good Grand Theft Auto, good in its own right. Not as good as San Andreas in my opinion, but nevertheless still a good addition to the Grand Theft Auto universe. So yeah. Right, number 2, Gran Turismo on the PS1. Now this one I totally agree with. You know, Gran Turismo did some pretty unique and special stuff when this come out. I'm pretty certain they were the first franchise to ever concentrate on cars looking the way they did, sounding the way they did in real life. Nevertheless, regardless of all that, I played this a lot when the PS1 was out. Thoroughly enjoyed it. This one and the second one. They were both very good games, ahead of their time. It was something that hadn't really been done before. Fantastic game. So I definitely agree with where this is on the spot. Very good game. If you have got a PS1, or maybe even something that emulates, definitely worth picking up, especially if you like your retro games. Gran Turismo is a brilliant game. Even to this day, it still plays well. Right, okay, moving on to number 1. I don't think you'll be too surprised by this. It is a game that's probably sold more copies than any other game in the franchise. It has been at the top spot for a long time. It's been added to constantly, and as a result, they haven't released the next one. And that is Grand Theft Auto 5. Yes, now, I would not have put this high on my list, because, if I'm honest, I'm not a massive fan of this game. Not myself, anyway. However, you can't deny that it's a very popular game. Like I say, I'm pretty certain when you look at it, this one has probably sold... It's definitely sold more in the franchise. And I think it also logs up there in the most sold PS4 games. Like I said, very popular game in the PS4's lifetime. It's stayed around for ages. It's constantly been added to. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's the most sold game in its franchise, and I'm pretty certain also that it's the most popular game on the PS4. I'm sure that's what I read somewhere. Yeah, I'm not surprised that it come in at number 1 out of the games I own. However, that's not where I would have put it. Like I say, it's not my favourite one in the franchise. And it's certainly not my favourite franchise. There are other franchises I like more. So yeah, so according to Metacritic, they're the best games in my collection, my top 10. Like I say, there were plenty of games that I did run through it that it didn't recognise. So, you know, there probably are ones that would score higher, but they're not on their database, I imagine, at the moment. So, but as it stands, this is the top 10 according to Metacritic. So yeah, I hope this video worked out well. I know it ended up a little bit, you know, over the place, because it's not an easy sort of video to respond to. Like I say, I own a lot of games. Trying to run them all through Metacritic, it's not easy. It takes some time. And like I say, it didn't recognise a whole bunch of them. So, because they're older games. So... But yeah, so that's my response to Generation Pixel. I hope you enjoy this, mate. And I hope everyone else enjoys it. Yeah, interesting challenge. Definitely one that requires a lot of effort. But it's worth it, because then you get an idea of what, I wouldn't say the gaming community think, because it's not necessarily what they think. It's more what Metacritic thinks, I suppose. But at least you get an idea of the most popular games out there, I suppose. But we all have different tastes, so we'd all have different views on that. But it's nice to see what their idea is of these great games, if you like. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. And if you have, please like, share and subscribe. And also hit that notification bell. And when you do, hit the little bell so that it gives you a nice little notification every time we upload. I'm also going to mention on here about the Nerdy Geezer Facebook group. If you are part of the page, join the group, because the page will be going. If you're not, the link's in the description below. Click on it, you know, get yourself over there, join the group. Be nice to get some more people like sharing their content on there. There are a few channels that are already doing that, but everyone's welcome. So if you've got a video and you want to put it on there, feel free. Right, and the next part is I'm going to mention about the Retro Emulation fan group. Like I say, if you're into emulation, there's a good Facebook group that I'm a part of, as well as several other channels and people who don't YouTube. There's a good community of us over there. The page is growing all the time. If you're not part of it and you're into emulation, get yourself over there, join the group. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.